We are leaving the US. We are leaving the US for good. We are moving back to India.
Well, reality is starting to settle in. We and family, my wife and my two kids, we have decided to make the ultimate sacrifice. Yep, we are moving abroad.
Today is my last day here in my house. Tomorrow I leave for Bali indefinitely, and it just feels like very bittersweet, so surreal.
So many Americans are leaving America, and I'm shocked to see that even white people are leaving America. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no time on the internet where I've seen more Americans talk about leaving America than now. And this is not something we saw like 10 years ago. This is not something we saw like 15 years ago. It's just that the more we have come closer to the 20 somethings, most especially after the pandemic, that is when American people were like, we need to get out of here, literally. And I've seen so many African Americans find a way of getting citizenships, from different African countries. And we've gotten so many African countries say, yo, brothers and sisters, you're welcome. Come back to the motherland. You can have two citizenships. And I remember recently, when I was in Kenya, I saw a group of African Americans. They've literally created their culture there. They've created a community there. And I was like, yeah, we love to see it. Because right now, more than ever, it looks like America is having a lot of problems. It's racism. Well, yeah, racism is not news to African Americans. But in 2025, it's been just a lot. It's just been more constant, and a lot is happening. There's the race, it's the segregation here, it's different nationalities are fighting, So a lot of Americans are leaving America. And my question to you guys that have not left America, when you see the state the United States is in right now, do you sit there and be like, maybe I need to move out?
So after 4 years of living, studying, working, teaching, making my contribution to education, I've decided to leave the U.S., at least for the time being. I no longer feel safe. I no longer feel respected. Every day my dignity is trampled upon by the rhetoric. And so, I think the only thing left for me to do is to relocate elsewhere. This decision did not come easy. A lot of back and forth, but I think it's the best decision for myself at this moment. It's unfortunate. But if you'd like to support in any way, I did create a fundraiser, a GoFundMe, to help me with moving expenses. I'm gonna be moving across the pond. Well, it's not really across the pond, but it's quite a far move. So, if your resources allow, and you'd like to support, please go ahead and do so. The link is in my bio. But this has been an amazing experience. I've enjoyed living here, enjoyed being a part of my community, supporting the arts, education here in the U.S., but I think the time has come to transition. All right, I'll share more about that as I lead up to my departure. But thank you all for your encouragement here on these platforms. Thank you all for listening to me ramble on about crazy stuff and thank you for listening to my poetry and supporting the work that I've been trying to do here on this platform. So that's about it.
Today is my last day here in my house. Tomorrow I leave for Bali indefinitely, and it just feels like very bittersweet, so surreal. And I truly, I love my house. I love my house. This has been my home for the past year and a half, where I've really sought refuge. This has been my haven. And yes, I'm moving to Bali, and it's very bittersweet, and it sucks. I just can't live here anymore. My children are here. I don't really speak to my family, but my children live here. They're 14 and 18 years old. I just don't want to be here. I don't want to be here anymore. I have lived here almost 40 years of my life. there's so much more to the world. There's so much more to the world than just this little piece of backyard, this house. There's so much to see, and I don't want to see it only 2 times a year, only 2 weeks a year. I want a vacation. I want to travel for all my life, but just know that there are sacrifices. There are sacrifices that are made, and this is one of them, having to give up my house yet again, willingly, but having to do this in order to get to what I want. This is the closing of a chapter and the beginning of another one, and it's beautiful, it's bittersweet, but at the same time it's the bitter part now. It's the bitter part now.
We've been asked why we're leaving the United States for Mexico. We've been criticized.
Accused of giving up, of turning our backs, of abandoning a fight.
But here's the truth. We're not leaving because we stopped fighting. We're leaving because we understand history.
And we know how this goes.
They never start with everyone.
In the 1930s, they began with one group. Jewish families were dehumanized, detained, and disappeared, but it didn't stop there.
LGBTQ plus people were next. Educators, activists, disabled folks, women who dared to speak, and anyone who refused to comply.
Fascism doesn't knock, it breaks in, and right now we see the pattern.
Immigrants being rounded up, rights stripped away, children in camps.
But look again, it's also in the attacks on queer lives, in the laws targeting trans youth, and the silencing of educators, and the books pulled from shelves, and the dismantling of universities, and the hollowing out of the Department of Education.
We are part of those communities. We are women, we are queer, we are educators.
And we know those that waited in the past, those who told themselves it won't get worse, didn't live long enough to be proven wrong.
We're not running, we're surviving.
And yes, we know we are privileged to be able to leave. So many people don't have that choice.
That's exactly why we won't waste it.
We're going to use that privilege on purpose.
To be a resource, a voice, a safe point of contact, a witness from the outside who can still speak freely.
From outside the fire, you can still shout, the house is burning.
We're not giving up on justice. We're building a different kind of resistance, one that isn't silenced, surveilled, or swallowed.
This isn't exile, it's strategy, and we are not the first.
History remembers those who got out and spoke out.
We're choosing to survive, to speak, to serve, just with a new view and a safer distance.
So if you don't understand why we're leaving, look at who they're coming for.
The immigrants are only the beginning.
And they won't be the last ones to go.
We are leaving the US. We are leaving the US for good. We are moving back to India. I've got so many comments, so many DMs, and the number one question is, why are we leaving the US? Multiple reasons, number of reasons of why we are leaving. The first reason is the healthcare system here. The healthcare system is terrible. I have been a victim of this healthcare system once when I suffered a loss. When my kids are sick, also I don't have any great experience whenever they are sick. But with my recent husband's diagnosis that he's got, staying in this country would be very difficult for us. It would not do any good to his health condition, and the healthcare system here is the focus is on insurance, the focus is on the deductibles, the out of pocket. Whereas in India, the healthcare system is much better, where the focus is first the patient. The focus is like treatment. Let's first get him better. Let's make him better, and then we will see regarding the insurance and the bills and all of those things. So the accessibility to doctors, the accessibility to specialists without appointments or with appointments, it's much easier. We don't have to worry about which treatment to select versus which we cannot do because the insurance is not covering it. We don't have to worry about meeting the out of pocket, meeting the deductibles. We don't have to worry about the tests that they do. We don't have to worry about how much, which tests the insurance will cover, and all of these things. And even just as simple as a fever or a cough, I can take my kids to the doctor freely without having to worry about again insurance and appointments and all of those things. So the first reason is healthcare system. I will let you know the other reasons probably in other parts if you guys are interested. If you want to see our journey of what we are going to do, how are we are going to move in like next 6 months, how are we preparing for the move, follow me I'll take you along the ride. If you have any more questions, do let me know so I can answer those for you. But this is one of the many reasons why we are moving, and if you want to know the other reasons, maybe a part 2.
Well, reality is starting to settle in. We in a family, my wife and my 2 kids, we have decided to make the ultimate sacrifice. Yep, we are moving abroad. We currently live in the United States. We chose to move back to her home country, which is the Philippines. And my God, I am so excited. The kids are excited. It's time for change. With the current events of what's going on in this country right now, it's safe to say we all need a break. We all need a break right now. It's so stressful here. At this moment, I'm doing my runarounds. I'm canceling my gym membership. I'm canceling my internet TV service provider. I'm at the car wash right now trying to cancel my membership. Yep, we're 100% dialed in. We're ready to go. Let's go, Philippines.
And here I am again in a car reflecting on my transition to relocating to the country of Panama. I am often asked, what is your number one regret, or do you have any regrets, or is there anything that you would do differently? And the first thing that always comes to mind is telling anyone about my plan. I started to talk about relocating and my decision, my absolute decision to do it, probably about 1.5 years, around that time, before actually making the transition. And as you can probably imagine, you hear the worst feedback, the worst. Like, immediately everyone will put their fear on you, or they pretty much just put themselves in it. You know, for example, they'll say something like, oh, that's dangerous. And, you know, certain people I would entertain, other people I would not, but I would say, what do you mean? And they'd say everything from, oh, the cartel is bad in Panama. Like a total incorrect stereotype. It's a stereotype at that, but it always goes to danger or crime or by yourself. Oh, you're going to get kidnapped. And, you know, I really understand that people are putting their own fears and they make it more about them. Like, I could never do that. And that's not what it's about. So that's probably my first regret. My second, if you want to call it a regret, is a lot of the YouTube and the people that I watched, there were very few that talked about that whole process when you're still in Los Estados Unidos and what happens, or tips on what you should do, from, you know, getting rid of your things to how early you should start. I mean, there's checklists about, you know, how to go through the process itself, but never really the emotional and physical tips on what you really need to start doing long before you ever set the date to go, that are in the United States. Not those things you need to go there and do and visit there. And, you know, I agree with all those things, but, you know, maybe I should make that YouTube. I don't know. But those are the two things. So yeah, if you have any questions about any of that, just let me know in the comments.
What's up, guys? So I'm sitting here on my balcony, and when I tell you it's a little breeze out here, man, that's probably why I got sick last week, man, because of this breeze. And this is unlike Santo Domingo, especially around this time. It's almost May. It's supposed to be scorching hot, but let me enjoy this while I can, because trust me, it's going to be months and months of pure heat. So anyway, I was out here and I was going through my comments here on TikTok, and I get a common question that I see all the time. People ask me, why did you move from the U.S. to Dominican Republic? So I decided I'm going to address that question and give you some of my reasons. I'm not going to give you all of them, but I'll give you some of them, the ones that I think were more important to me. But the others, I'm not going to say they're less important, but I'm just not going to say them here on TikTok, because people nowadays are easily offended, and I don't have time to be going back and forth with anybody on TikTok about what I believe, and nobody's going to change my mind about it. So I'm going to talk about the ones that I feel comfortable sharing here on TikTok, and I'm sure that those who are looking to move back to Dominican Republic, or move to Dominican Republic, or move abroad, probably share some of these same feelings. And these are in no particular order, but here are 4 of my reasons. And reason number 1 is the growing tension and division in the United States. Everybody in the United States seems to be on edge about something. To me, it seems like everyone is like a ticking time bomb just waiting to explode. It also feels like everybody's just looking to be offended by something. You can't say anything, you can't do anything because somebody out there is looking to get offended. And I'll take it a step further. The political tension and division also has gotten out of hand. We look at everybody over there as either you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, which is dumb. I don't know how we got so invested in these political parties that we'll damage relationships with long-term friends, families, jobs, and all this stuff, man. It is just crazy. I remember the time we used to debate who was better, Tupac or Biggie, LeBron or Jordan, McDonald's or Burger King, ham or burger, peanut butter or jelly, the Jetsons or the Flintstones. And now we won't do none of that no more. We're debating about politics, man. I don't have time for that, man. And not saying people are not into politics here, because they are, but not to the point, at least in my experience, to the point where they'll destroy their family. They won't talk to their kids, they won't talk to their husband, they'll get divorced. Not to that point. I hadn't seen it here. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the high cost of living. The cost of living in the United States has just gotten bad, way, way bad. Before I moved here, I was living in Fort Lauderdale, and I was paying about $2,400 a month for a 2-bedroom and 2-bath apartment. When I moved here, I was able to cut that in half on my accommodations. But here's the kicker. The $2,400 covers all my overhead just living here. So what I was paying in Fort Lauderdale, $2,400 just on rent, that covers everything here in Santo Domingo. And of course it doesn't cover my entertainment, me going out to eat or going out to get a cigar, or even going out for drinks, but it covers all my overhead. And that's still a little bit less than $2,400. It's really around $2,200, $2,300 per month. So the cost of living, as you can see, was a factor. So let's move on to number 3, the continuous rat race of the 9 to 5. Yes, now I understand not everybody can quit their job and move abroad and live in another country. And you know what? I didn't think I could either. But when I started focusing on it and putting a plan together and really dialing in on what I wanted, things started to happen for me where I was able to do it. So I had to get out of that system. I just could no longer stand that system. So now I work for myself. I was able to buy back a lot of my time to focus on some of the things that I like to do the most. And the last one is the senseless and random gun violence. Yes, the United States has gotten really dangerous over the last decade or so, where the violence just has gotten to a point where a lot of people, they are desensitized to it now. It's like when there's a mass shooting, it's like, oh, that's another one. And then the next day is business as usual, you know. And I have a daughter, and the last thing I was going to do was put my daughter in a public school in the United States and have me as a parent worried about whether she gonna come home. No, that wasn't gonna happen. And even for myself, I didn't want to be at a grocery store or at a mall or something, and some fool comes in because he's mad, poor little Johnny. I don't have time for that. And I know somebody's gonna say, but there's crime in DR. I know it is. Of course there's crime in DR. There's crime everywhere. I mean, I haven't heard of any mass shootings anywhere. I haven't heard anybody running up in a school or anything like that. I mean, if you have, then let me know. I haven't heard of that. You know, I don't feel threatened when I go to the grocery store that somebody's going to come and shoot it up. I don't feel threatened if I'm inside a church, somebody's going to shoot the church up. I don't feel threatened when I'm at a restaurant, somebody's just going to walk up and just start killing everybody. I don't feel threatened like that here. So don't try to compare the crime here to the crime in the United States. It's not comparable. Period. I don't care what you say. So don't try to convince me otherwise. So anyway, so those are some of the reasons why I decided to leave the United States and move to Dominican Republic. If you got other reasons why you're looking to move out of the country, or if you're already out of the country, what are some of the reasons that you decided to? Put them in the comments below.
Americans are leaving this country in record numbers. And I'm not talking about vacation. I'm talking packing their bags, booking their flights, and leaving for good. In the first few months of 2025 alone, the amount of people that just said, I'm done, and moved abroad doubled from the year before. That's not just a blip, okay? That's a wave. So why? Same reasons you and I complain about every day. Cost of living going through the roof, political chaos that never seems to end, and the fear of safety even when you're just going to the grocery store. But here's the thing, it's not just dreamers or millionaires doing it. It's normal people. It's people with families. It's young people, old people, retirees, people who are working remote. One common thread holding all of these people together is they just want a dignified life. That's why you're seeing places like Greece, Spain, France, Portugal. Their cafes are filling up with Americans who are just done. People love to scream, if you don't like it, leave. Well, we are, thousands and thousands of us. We will be joining that wave soon. If you're curious about moving abroad, stick around, because we're about to embark on this journey ourselves, and we can't wait. At the end of the day, people like us just want to make life work. And if we think that we can do that better outside of this country, then who's to say we can't?
Now, I know y'all love some good gossip and some tea. So I'm going to give y'all some. I hear the word on the street is that the new American dream is actually to leave America. Because why do I want to stay in a place where I'm not welcome? And so I posted something on Threads yesterday, and folks was all on my comment section talking about something. We need to fight. Fuck a fight. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to live in peace. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to just be surviving. I want to thrive. I don't want to have to go to the emergency room or go to the doctor and then be left with a $2,500 bill wondering how I'm going to pay it. I don't want to pay a $500 electric bill no more. I don't want to pay a $350 water bill no more. No, I want to live in peace. I don't want to eat food that's manufactured in a lab. I want to eat watermelons with seeds. I don't want to eat food that's from bioengineered ingredients filled with all these pesticides and antibiotics. I don't want that.
Is it morally wrong to leave the country that you live in and move abroad? Let's talk about it. I'm moving from the United States to Portugal soon, and I have found that this makes some people incredibly angry. I get people from both sides. There's people who are mad that I'm leaving, and then there's people who are mad that I'm going to the country they live in. Let's start with the first group. I get a lot of accusations saying that I hate the place I'm coming from. I get a lot of people telling me I'm unpatriotic in that I should rescind my citizenship, as if that's how that works. All I can say to this is I don't. I wonder if this only happens here, or if it happens in other countries as well. I don't know, something to think about. And then there's the flip side. There are the people who are mad I am immigrating to their country. And look, I think some of their anger and some of their arguments have merit. Cost of living has been going up all around the world. Places have been gentrifying. It's a scary time. It's a scary time to not be able to afford rent. All I can say is I'm leaving a place where I can't really afford to live anymore. I've been priced out. But I don't blame people moving to where I live. I'm not personally buying 100 apartments and renting them out for short-term holiday rentals, right? I'm just looking to find one place at market value. That's what I'm doing, right? I do think there's different ways to emigrate to a new place. I think you should try to integrate. You should try to learn the language. You should try to make friends with the locals and shop and eat where the locals shop and eat. You shouldn't just be going to the capybara matcha cafes that are trendy on social media, right? So at the end of the day, I think just being a good person and being polite and kind goes so far. Here's the final thing. 95% of all the noise I hear is from online. I don't hear any of this in the real world. Not saying it doesn't exist, but the internet is a funny place. I never knew the word expat or the word Europe was a bad word until I came to the internet, right? So you're never going to make everybody happy, but you should be conscious of how you're moving. That's the conclusion I've come to. I would love to hear what you think. Because when it comes down to it, we only have one life and we should live it the way we want to. If we want to move somewhere, not because we think it's going to magically solve all of our problems, but because we think we might have a better shot of living a life there, I say go for it, right? Just be a good person and lead with empathy and an open heart, and I think you are 90% of the way there.